Hello and welcome. My name is Stanley Thurston. I'm a regular occurring artist with the End Series and a member of its board of directors. Thank you, Timothy Nelson, our artistic director, for inviting me to give today's introduction. This evening, we will present a group of young artists of the End Series who will offer a special tribute performance to honor Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a holiday which began in the state of Texas, celebrated on June 19th, to commemorate the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the United States. The name Juneteenth is a blending of two names, June and 19th. Following the adoption of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States, passing in the Senate in 1864 and the House of Representatives in January of 1865, President Abraham Lincoln approved the joint resolution of Congress, submitting this amendment to the state legislatures on February 1st, 1865. June 19, 1865 is the day the Union Army arrived in Galveston, Texas, to announce that all African American slaves in the state were free, in accordance with the Emancipation Proclamation. Juneteenth celebrations began in Texas as early as 1866, but would take some 115 years to become an official holiday in Texas in 1980. June 19th is an important date in African American history. It's also an important date in American history. Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, let's welcome our young artists.
A proclamation. That on the first day of January, A.D. 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free. And the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons, and will do no act or acts to repress such persons or any of them in any efforts that they may make for their actual freedom. And upon this act, sincerely believed to be an act of justice, warranted by the Constitution upon military necessity, I invoke the considerate judgment of mankind and the gracious favor of Almighty God.
So we're going to take a journey today through the spiritual Deep River. It is a spiritual that is deeply symbolic and one that has gained fans the world over. It's been popular for about 100 years in the form that we know it now, as arranged by H.T. Burleigh. However, that was not the original version. So all of the Negro spirituals were written by enslaved people who were in the fields, who were finding a way to deal with the oppression and the violence against them in the United States. They are this wellspring of pain, but also hope and joy and endurance and perseverance. They were participative. Everybody in the community sang, and everybody had their part. These songs were folk songs in the sense that they weren't composed by a particular individual, but it kind of sprung forth from the group consciousness. And if there was a particular individual, we don't know them today. In fact, we don't know exactly what this song would have sounded like in its original form. The closest we can get to it is its earliest printed version, because there were not records then and not tape recorders or iPads and iPhones. So the first written version we have is from 1877. It was printed in a book about the Fisk Jubilee Singers by J.B.T. Marsh, one of the leaders of the group. And it's very different from what we are used to. It is more, listen for the call and response. Listen for how a group of people could join in and sing this together. Also pay attention to the ambiguities as far as tonality. It's not so straight and cut as far as this is a major chord, this is a minor chord. There is room in this pentatonic scale for improvisation and for changes in direction of timbre and tune and tone and affect. All right, here we go. Deep river, my home is over Jordan. Deep river, Lord, I wanna cross over into campground. 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 Oh, don't you wanna go to that gospel feast, the promised land where all is peace? Lord, I wanna cross over into campground. 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 So you can hear in this version how there's a bit of a call and response. How it would be easy for a group of singers, a group of musicians to really join in. Lord, I wanna cross over into campground. Lord, I wanna cross over, and so forth.
Hi, I'm Melissa Wimbish. I'm a soprano. I live in Baltimore, and I am one of the lead singers of Baltimore indie baroque pop band Outcalls. I submitted 2 videos for this Juneteenth celebration. One is entitled Gray Train. Gray Train is a song I wrote in April 2015 with my bandmates at the time. The song was a response to the uprising here in Baltimore, which was a result of the murder of Freddie Gray. Freddie Gray was 25 years old when he was arrested and taken for a rough ride, and he died as a result of that abuse. It was a very violent, tragic death, and it was a very sad time here in Baltimore. The song is a dedication to Freddie Gray, hence the title Gray Train. It's also a look back to the Underground Railroad, which was a source of so much mystery for me. So in writing the song, I wanted to express my feelings about the the run and the struggle and the desire to flee from injustice. And I also wanted to talk about the run to freedom and imagine what that fear must have been like, and also that exhilaration. So you'll hear references to running, to water, to the drinking gourd, which was a means of navigation. And another interesting thing about this piece, I think, is that our style as a band now and our makeup as a band is absolutely different. It totally changed. And I think a lot of that is a direct result of racism and sexism that I was experiencing in the band. I was the only woman for a very long time, and I was the only person of color. And in writing this song, I remember getting so much pushback about the title, the instrumentation. I had a lot to say about the sound and wanting to tweak certain things, but there was just so were so many no's. But thankfully, with my lyrics, I think I got my message across, and I'm happy with what happened, and I'm happy with the final result. And thanks to Devin Allen, West Baltimore photographer, thanks to his photography, I think the message is very clear. Even though it was the attempt to stifle it happened, it is very clear that this song is a dedication to Freddie Gray and to those we have lost. And in wake of what's happening now with the ongoing protests for the George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, I hope that you'll see this footage and see the beauty of Black people, see the beauty of protest, and carry that with you as you continue to fight for justice.
Running full speed in this stream.
I'd like to thank Britt Olsen-Ecker for putting together that video for Gray Train. Thank you for your work on that. You're going to see more of Britt in this next video. This is our official music video for our song Stay. We released this in January and we're so proud of it. The reason I thought this was relevant is because of the line in the song. It goes, I turn on the news and turn to you, and I see that the rules just don't apply to you. Without going too far down the rabbit hole of discussing that, I think many of us are feeling that way right now. The rules don't apply to you, and they apply to some of us in different ways, and it can be hard to have a fruitful relationship when that's not recognized. Well, it's a great song on its own, and there's a lot to unpack there, but the music video is just straight up entertainment. So enjoy Stay by Outcalls. Our website is outcallsband.com, and you can also find our music at outcalls.bandcamp.com and on Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. Thank you for watching and for celebrating Juneteenth. See you soon.
Remember when you forgot my birthday? That should have been the end of our story. Baby, right now I feel so far away, and you won't be straight with me. I don't wanna be the person that you point to in the pictures while you tell everybody about my crimes. I don't wanna be that girl, and I'm not that girl. But with you, could I ever be a woman? Are you gonna stay? Are you gonna stay? Can we get it back to the part when you really liked me? Stay. Are you gonna stay? Can we get it back to the part when you really like me? When you really like me. I turn on the news and turn to you, and I see that the rules just don't apply to you, and you like it. I think you want it like that. You think I should stay. Turn on the news and I turn on the news and turn to you, and I see that the rules just don't apply to you, and you like it like that. I think you want it like that. You want me to stay inside. Don't call me the bad guy. Don't call me the bad guy. And as a matter of fact, it blows my mind that you call me the one who really gives a damn about a birthday anyway. Are you gonna stay? Are you gonna slide? Can we get it back to the part? Even when you really liked me, stay. Are
Now, Samuel Coleridge Taylor was an Afro-British composer and pianist. So he would not have grown up with this music. He would not have had it sung to him since he was a baby. He would not have had it in his consciousness and in the community that he was a part of. Instead, he first encountered this tune in that 1877 book, The Jubilee Singers and Their Songs. However, he was very taken with it. In fact, at the bottom of the page, the inscription that he writes is, "In the author's opinion, this is the most beautiful and touching melody of the whole series." You can hear, when you listen to the piano piece, the influence that he took from that 1877 piece that he saw, but you can also hear where, as a composer, he takes his own journey. He sets it to lento, takes away the rhythmic percussive aspects that were so typical of Africanistic music around the globe, and makes it very much so a concert piece with a very particular deep lamentoso affect. So listen for that.
At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed. Oh, had I the ability and could reach the nation's ear, I would today pour out a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, and the earthquake. The feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of this nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed. And its crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced. What, to the American slave, is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation, of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality hallow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States at this very hour.
Now, H.T. Burleigh was intimately acquainted with Samuel Coleridge Taylor, and they even toured together on 2 occasions throughout the United States. Samuel Coleridge Taylor was younger than H.T. Burleigh, however, he passed away sooner. And perhaps in homage to his friend and erstwhile collaborator, H.T. Burleigh took his musical ideas that he imbued into, H.T. Burleigh took Samuel Coleridge Taylor's ideas that he imbued into this Negro spiritual and extrapolated from them and elaborated on them. The first instance that we have of H.T. Burleigh publishing a piece with that name is around 1911, but it was a choral piece. It wasn't until 1916 that we get his first solo version, and it took off like wildfire. This is 1916, but black singers and white singers all over the country are opening and closing their programs with this song. H.T. Burleigh tinkered with it a little bit more, 1917, 1920, and then through those permutations we get the version that we're so familiar with today. Interestingly enough, after he said it, very few composers have changed that sentiment that is so ingrained in the music. So if you go back to the original Jubilee singers, you can easily see how arrangers could go in a whole number of different directions. And we see that with a lot of different spirituals. But H.T. Burleigh's arrangement is so close to the consciousness, I think, of where we were and where we are as a nation and as a group, that it's hard to stray away from that.
Nobody knows the trouble I see.